We invited you here this morning because we wanted to ask you to reassure our public that we will be doing everything in our power to see to it that the airport continues to run efficiently and effectively and non-violently, no matter what happens in the coming weekend proposed strike by Eastern Airlines employees. I would still hope that President George Bush would order a cooling off period of 60 days. The airline industry does not need any kind of strike at this time. The city of Atlanta doesn't need any kind of strike at this time. But we have been anticipating this possibility for several months. And we've made a wide variety of contingency plans. But we would like to ask all of the employees to be patient, to remain nonviolent. If there is a confrontation, by and large, that confrontation will be won by the persons who keep the high moral ground, and that is that keep their actions as free of violence and intimidation as possible. There's no easy way in this kind of situation, and I think the Supreme Court hasn't made it easier on us as local officials. It took us a long time to develop a body of law where we might resolve disputes in a court of law. I think the rules and regulations governing organized labor, I think, have been dealt a blow by the recent Supreme Court decision. That's likely to make it more difficult for us because it's likely to make everybody more desperate. But we would still make an appeal for patience and for calm and for, above all, nonviolence. We have assigned additional police officers to the sites where there will be demonstrations taking place. But I must say we've had a great deal of cooperation with the Machinists Union, and we've negotiated understandings with them about their right to peacefully picket and present their point of view to the public. But in these kinds of situations, it does take everybody's cooperation, everybody's forbearance. And so this is just an appeal to all of the parties concerned. Let's see if we can't get through this with a minimum of difficulty. But the city of Atlanta intends to keep the airport open, intends to operate it as efficiently and as effectively as possible. And we also intend to protect the rights of all of those citizens that are involved in the airport, those that are coming to fly and do business, those who have grievances and want to peacefully picket for the redress of those grievances. It makes our job a little difficult, but we've been up to the task before, and I'm confident that our police officers, our airport employees will be up to the task at present.
Mr. Mayor, have you asked any additional help from the state, or do you think the police can handle this?
We think that the kind of cooperation that we've had from the union up to now would indicate that there would not be any situation that our airport police could not handle. I think that it's normal that a reply to something like this is a minute. That if there's any possibility of avoiding a strike, it should be done by the parties involved, and the government should not intervene. But I would hope that if there is not any agreement reached by midnight on Friday, that sometimes an appeal would come from the White House.
Do you think Atlanta is being specifically targeted? One of the
No.
cities that will be a major...
No, Atlanta's not going to be specifically targeted. I think you'll find that we're probably better prepared than most cities. But Miami, of course, is the headquarters. But all up and down, everywhere Eastern flies, you will have this sort of difficulty. We just happen to have the world's biggest and busiest airport. And even a 5-minute delay can send delays through the entire system. So we're trying to avoid any possible delays and any possible difficulties.
How many officers are assigned out at the airport?
Well, normally we have, I think, about 88, and we'll probably have an additional 100 and we will be able to supplement that as needed. Okay?
What is your perception? Do you think that the president will react? What are your...
I don't know. I tell you this, it would be a very popular decision if he made it. And right now, with all the trouble he's getting into with Tower, a popular decision would be very good for his presidency.
Do you think there will be a strike? Do you think it's avoidable?
Well, I think it's only avoidable right now if the president steps in and does something to extend the negotiation and mediation period by another 60 to 90 days.
And you said that the union has been cooperating with you in the planning stages.
The union has been, we have negotiated all of the demonstration sites, and our airport personnel have maintained a regular relationship with the union, and they've reached agreements that we are confident that they will maintain.
Is it likely when you negotiate beforehand that you kind of cut some problems that could happen?
Well, that's what we hope, and that's the reason why we make every effort to anticipate problems and come to some agreements about how we're going to solve them. We don't want any surprises. And that's the reason we're talking to everybody. The city does not want to be involved in this. We're simply trying to protect the rights of all of the persons involved. That is labor, management, passengers, innocent bystanders. We want the city and the airport to run as efficiently and as effectively as it possibly can. I mean, after all, this time of year we have enough problems with just the weather. We don't need any other difficulties.
Mayor, you don't seem to have any kind of animosity or anything toward the machinists at all. How do you feel? Are you sympathetic with their...
I'm really also an innocent bystander in this. I'm upholding the law. And I think that labor does have certain rights that are being challenged by management. By the same token, I think management has certain rights and responsibilities that labor disagrees with. And I would just wish that these could be settled without strikes. I don't think strikes work anymore for anybody. Strikes are basically a no-win situation. It's just a question of how can we cut the losses. I mean, if Easton is already losing $1 million a day, they're not going to be helped by having to put money into a strike fund. It would be much better if they were putting money into new airplanes or into new wages. But I'm not one of the managers of Easton's Airline. I do hope we can manage the city in such a way that whenever they start flying again, whoever starts flying, there will be still an efficient, effective airport. We do our part for the airlines. We give them one of the best facilities that exist anywhere in the world. It costs them less money to operate in Atlanta than it does in most places, and we want to keep it that way. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Did you bring a note? Look out for tearing that stuff.
$210 million is enough incentive. That's more than the city council, entire city council budget was when I became mayor, I believe. Whatever is required to make that dome operable, I think we're prepared to do it.
Do you foresee the city or state or whatever being able to build both a dome stadium and a 80,000 seat track and field stadium?
I do. And
It's an awful short schedule.
well, I think that when Billy Payne came to me with a vision of this Olympics, it was a crazy idea, but the more we look at it and the more we allow ourselves to think ahead and realize the tremendous potential of this opportunity, I think that, well, I'm sure it's possible. Now, I must confess that we wouldn't be building an Olympic stadium if we don't have an Olympic bid. But if we receive the Olympic bid in September of 1990, there's no question in my mind that we will be able to produce a stadium fit for the 1996 Olympic Games by 1994, 1995.
Will you be able to satisfy the Braves until then?
I think that the Braves, Braves ought to be worried about satisfying us right now. But I have said to the Braves management that we intend to work with them. They are a valuable participant in our city, and they have seen plans for a stadium. They have even introduced plans for a stadium, and they are participating in this process with us.
One more question.
Mr. Payne, what about corporate sponsorship? We've heard that tonight.
Well, I'm not qualified to talk about that issue. That was the worldwide top sponsorship of the Olympic movement, and really doesn't appertain to us. Mrs. Amaranth, you want to? She was making reference to that, the corporate sponsorship.
Well, Coca-Cola is, I would divide Coca-Cola in two. International Coca-Cola signed the agreement with the Olympic movement regarding the top program. And the bottlers of Coca-Cola in every country. And we know, for example, that Coca-Cola in Toronto, they are supporting the bid of Toronto. And the bottlers in Atlanta, Coca-Cola bottlers will support the Atlanta bid, and so on. And Athens are the same. But the international Coca-Cola will not be involved in the bid.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bruce, we got to get out of here. Are you traveling around?
You can call in and print out a report for you, and it will save it to a hard copy and it'll put it in a file, so you can always retrieve it if you wanted to. But what happens is to get a building to run or to get a floor to run, you would enter a schedule either from the building level, which would enable every floor to run, or you could individually pick a floor. Let's say you wanted the second floor to run an hour longer than the rest of the building. So you would go ahead and assemble a schedule here, which would enable all your thermostats on that floor, which would then in turn start the air handler. Okay, the air handler is going to run. He's going to try and meet the conditions that were defined on that parameter page, both static pressure and discharge air. And if the air handler is not enough, then he's going to call your central plant. Okay, we've got various things. We've got this is your heat exchanger valves to let you know that you're either in economizer or out of economizer. Our system associates a lot with colors and conditions. If something is white, then chiller 2 should be running. You'll notice the pump is white, that pump should be running. That pump is white, it should be running. These are gray, those are off. We're at currently at 900 GPM through the plant. These numbers here will automatically change every so often depending on what you set it up for, so that if there is a change, you'll see them change on the screen. If your return temp was to go up, you'd see it go up. And you can get into, once again, you can go further into the plant, into the chiller. And this will give you a individual look at chiller 2 in this case. I'll tell you, I got, my chill water pump is supposed to be on, but I've got no flow. My condenser water pump is supposed to be on, and I've got flow. There's a head pressure valve, return temp, supply to the to the towers. The chill water supply to the building is 66 degrees. We read current, and based on current, we make a decision on, based on current and GPM, we make the decision if we need another chiller or if we can turn another chiller off. I'm sure we'll get into more of this later on once we get all of our equipment installed.
We got 2 minutes on the table.
Anybody got any questions? Something they want to see? Something I missed?
What games you got on it then?
How many you need? I got those here. I can only show the boss how to get to those. Otherwise, won't no work get done.
Can you show us the chamber?
The council chamber?
You got that?
Sure. I don't have a, I physically don't have a sensor for the council chamber, but I can show you 1/2 of the second floor. Okay, the council chamber goes from the atrium level to the first floor. Now you'll notice this is the second floor, and see, all we do is we split the building. That one sensor on either wing is there to enable the boxes to run and start the air handlers, and then to provide you with some kind of night setback, so that if it drops below a temperature, we can enable the boxes again, raise it up, and then shut it back down.
It doesn't sense any temperature at that zone. Or can you get that information?
Sure. I mean, we can see the temperature, but it's relative to where it is. You know, if it's in a room with a door shut, it may be warmer than it actually seems on the floor. Okay, and what we do is, this is how the thing works. Is we send a signal to a switching valve,